Ishpeming, Michigan. We're at Lowry's Pasty Shop. Getting some cookie sandwiches, pasties. Making our way across the Upper Peninsula today before going across Lake Michigan tomorrow. And back to baseball. Today's our off day though, so talk a little food here in just a moment. Behold, we have the Lowry's cookie sandwich. Show you the inside here. Ooh, that is fresh off the cooker there. Okay, that's a little too hot to open up right now, but we've got the cookie patty, mushrooms, onions, peppers, sauce, all that good stuff. You can get the sauce on the side as well, as Aaron has done. Once it cools down, we will get the review on how good they are, which they're going to be really good, I can guarantee you that. Behold, we are passing by the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, right in front of us here. Located on a little traffic circle, rotary, whatever you want to call this thing, in Ishpeming, Michigan. Gotta stop right now because traffic. It's like one person who's gonna get that.
Looking for my chapstick.
No. There you go, the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame. You get the big ski jumper right out front there. Cool stuff. Get to us that food review here in a bit, and as we make our way over to the Mackinac Bridge. Lake Superior, northernmost, largest of the Great Lakes. Still very cold in it this time of year. Unfortunately, I can't get down to the water here. Got the fences up, but a nice view here, just a little bit east of Marquette, Michigan. We're in the UP. We're going through M28. I think it's time we review that food. So, Aaron, you had a cookie sandwich for the first time. What are your thoughts?
I did. Well, for the first thing, the one that we had was humongous.
Yes.
And it was only $10, so bang for the buck, A+, no doubt. I thought it was good. I know that it traditionally comes with some sort of tomato sauce on it, and we had a long drive today, so tomato sauce, the acidity in it really does not sit well with me very much. So I got it on the side. I did have a little bit of it just to make sure I got an authentic experience in some of it, but not to overdo it, for this long drive. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought the cheese was very good. I don't know if that's the normal cheese that they put on it.
Yep.
They also had pizza at the place where we got it. But yeah, cheese was super good and melty. Had a nice flavor to it. Bread was wonderful and crisp. And I thought the meat was good. Onions were good. All of that. I tried a little bit of the tomato sauce, and while I do not personally like tomato sauce, I do think that it added something to the sandwich, but I was not ready to just slather it
right.
all over. But yeah, overall I thought it was pretty good, and I'd definitely try one again.
Yeah. Cookie gets the stamp of approval, and a little bit later on we're going to have a pasty. We may have to do two of them because I got the small one there from Lowry's, but we're going to be running by Leto's there as well, so we might have to do like we did the cannoli ones in Boston last time. We're going to have to do a pasty comparison, I think, here between those two. So stay tuned. We've got more food coming here from the Upper Peninsula. So I missed the sign coming into it, but this is Christmas, Michigan. We have Noel Lane and Reindeer Run, Candy Cane Lane. What's that? There's Candy Cane Lane right there that we just passed, actually. And there we go. There's the big Santa Claus. There used to be a Santa Claus at one side and a Mrs. Claus at the other side of the town. I know they're talking about possibly taking them down just because nobody wanted to deal with the upkeep, but there you see the giant Santa Claus here in Christmas, Michigan. There you go. Onward! And as we pass over Hickey Creek, we are officially on to the Seney stretch. It's considered to be the most boring stretch of roadway in the entire United States. 25 miles. Once we get past this little curve here, it's pretty much going to be straight as an arrow for 25 miles between the towns of Shingleton and Seney. As you see, just one lane each direction. Pine trees to the left of me. Pine trees to the right of me. And not a soul to be seen between here and Seney unless, you pass another car or something like that. You're not going to find any gas stations. You're not going to find any bathrooms. If you have to answer nature's call, you got to go use a leaf. We'll see you on the other side. We're in the middle of Michigan's Upper Peninsula right now. Aaron's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. we've said for a while we're going to do, you know, Grapher talk, Grapher stories, something like that while driving along, and we never get around to it because usually it's kind of spontaneous and it's like, oh crap, we should have recorded that. So this may end up a little bit forced and everything here. But yeah, this is the perfect time for it because we can't get any internet on the phones right there, so it means no music or anything like that. So there's some Grapher stories. So yeah, we're sitting here trying to think of what to talk about here because, like I said, usually it's spontaneous and we go, oh crap, so we miss out. But one thing that never came up on this channel because it happened before my channel existed is the Des Moines incident.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. And this happened back in 2018. It was on the first edition of the Eternal Graphing Tour, at least as my involvement of it. This is my third trip now. This is on the first one, 2018. So yeah, Des Moines was an interesting place. So I mean, great ballpark, AAA park there. We saw Las Vegas play at Des Moines. This is when Las Vegas was the Mets AAA team. And so they had this young first baseman named Peter Alonso playing for them, who went on to do some things in his career. So
you may know that he's an animagus. For all you Harry Potter fans, he can turn himself into a polar bear, I'm told.
Alrighty then. So there we go. He's got skills that I was not aware of. But we went to see Las Vegas play against Des Moines there in Iowa, and things started all right. You know, we went over to the visitor side. Really didn't have a whole lot of luck there. Got a couple of bullpen guys like, all right, let's go and try. Wait, no, it was the home side first, but the visitors were out throwing because we got a couple of Mets bullpen guys there. So I think we tried the Cubs side, didn't have a whole lot of luck. So we moved back over to the Vegas side there, over by the dugout. Things were going well. You know, we got Alonso to sign for us and a few others, and we're standing there waiting around. The other graphers, you know, weren't really, you know, they were nice enough, but not like super helpful, but also weren't, you know, malevolent or anything until this rotten bastard comes along. And this guy comes in with this like short man syndrome, basically. I mean, the dude was like my height, so he wasn't really that big or anything like that. So obviously, you know, Napoleon complex going on there. And he comes over and he goes, all right, if you're not a Mets fan or a Vegas fan, you need to get the fuck out of here right now. And I just look over at him, I'm like, okay, guy, whatever. So I'm like cracking up laughing at this guy, you know, coming in and waving his dick around and everything. And so he gets up in my face like, oh, you don't have a Mets hat. And what are you, a Cubs fan? You Cubs fan? You trying to get these to sell them? Yeah. Hey, players, don't sign for this guy. He's looking to sell them. And I'm like, yeah, you caught me, Skippy. I'm that desperate for the dollar that I'm going to get for Dom Smith's autograph here. And Smith signed for us and everything, which was good and all that. I mean, he obviously didn't really pan out much as a player, but hey, I'll take the graph. And so this, by the way, this dude didn't even have anything good to get signed. He had two pieces of paper, each with half of a team logo printed on it. So it's like if you put it together, it might look right if you line it up perfectly, but there was no way. And he's getting this thing signed. He doesn't know who any of the players are. He's just like handing it over. We're the ones who are identifying the players and calling them over. He's like sticking the stuff right there and like, oh, don't sign for them. They're going to sell it. They're going to sell it. And he's like dropping F-bombs all over the place. There's kids around and everything. And I'm just like, dude, you need to back off, number one. And number two, just back the hell off, basically. One being the same as two in this case. And so he's getting all up in my face about all this. So Aaron's like, okay, I'm going to go talk to the usher here and see if they can do something about this. And they were about as useful as a football bat, right?
Indeed. Yeah, and the thing is that this was carrying on and it was being pretty loud. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, eventually somebody who has some authority around here is going to show up and wonder what's going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go preempt this whole situation and go see if I can find somebody and maybe get this guy off of our case. Because, I mean, it was becoming quite the spectacle, as it were, you know, to start with. And so I was trying to keep it from, you know, who knew? The dude was super hostile from the moment that we started. Mm-hmm. And so who knows, you know, what he was going to do or what was going to happen. So I thought it was best to kind of nip it in the bud from there.
Best of all, he was there with like his wife or girlfriend or significant other at the time as well. And she was just looking completely embarrassed the entire time. They're sitting next to a couple people as well, and he's like, you know, getting mouthy, and they're just sitting there like, we're not involved in this. This is it. I don't know. So, yeah. So finally, the usher comes down there and is like, all right, what's going on here? What's the problem? Yada yada yada. And all they do is ask, sir, do you have tickets for this section? Oh, you do? Okay. Well, we're just keep it down, please. This dude's like threatening to kill me almost, or, you know, whatever the hell he was doing at this point, and, you know, about to try to fight me over the fact that I'm not a Mets fan getting, you know, Mets prospects autographs. And it's like, what the hell? And he stuck around the entire game. I'm thinking, okay, am I going to fight this guy afterward if we go down and try to get autographs again? And fortunately, he didn't try afterward, inside or outside, but standing down there at by the dugout, we were trying, again, post-game there. And a couple of the Des Moines Graphers come over and they're like, man, you are really a magnet for it tonight, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, apparently so. I don't know what I did here. And they're like, well, if anything, if it helps, he's not a regular out here. We have no idea who that guy is. Like, well, that definitely is good there. So the rest of the Des Moines Graphers, at least, were really cool about it and everything. They helped us out outside and all that. But yeah, that was an interesting night there and a way to finish us off, because we did Des Moines again the next day before hitting the road and all that. But yeah, fun stuff there. So what else we got? What other, what's...
The one that instantly springs to mind for me is, so I was by myself. Me and my mom took a trip to California, 2024, so that would have been 2 years ago. And I was graphing at the now Major League ballpark of Sutter Health Park, which is where then and now the Sacramento River Cats play, which is the AAA for the San Francisco Giants. And this is before the A's got there. And so before they start really shutting down the autographing as much as they have now. But yeah, so I was there, and before there were nets and everything, but there was a little spot down the first baseline. I guess it would have been the third baseline, where the players could come in and you could get them to sign, right? And so there was this guy, older gentleman, not super old, but older than me, certainly. And then I was over there. Then there were a few, kids, teenagers, whoever down the line from us. And we were standing over there, and he was standing over there, and there was like a gap between us, and I was next to him, and we're talking. He was a super nice guy, and he was asking me about the trip. He's like, oh, that's so awesome. Where have you been? Where are you going? What's the next one? Everybody always wants to know what my favorite park is, so we were talking about it for a little while, and he was really nice. And so as the players start to come, there's this lady, I use that term loosely, and she comes up to us, and it's like, excuse me, can my son get between you? And yeah, we're like, yeah, sure, for sure. There's enough room. Yeah, he can come down here. And so, it was another situation where we're basically two of only a handful of people there who can ID anybody, right? And so normally your noisiest, craziest graphers are the ones who have no idea what's going on, right? And so generally there's a certain code if you graph and if you do this for a long time, it's like you're not a boisterous individual. You're not somebody who causes a scene or brings attention to yourself unwarrantedly.
You're not the Des Moines Mets fan.
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. And so, we're calling people over, and the guy that I really wanted to get was a former infielder in the major leagues, but also I think bench coach at the time for the River Cats, Holbert Cabrera. They also had Damon Minor. They had several guys who had major league cards on their coaching staff, and so we're standing down there, and the lady says, hey, can my son get in between you? And yeah, we're like, yeah, sure. And we felt like we were pretty nice about it. Yeah, no problem, get down here, get your autograph. Well, as kids are, right, it's like he would get one autograph and he'd run off to go do something else. And but the lady kind of stayed in our general vicinity a few rows behind us. And then so he runs off. We didn't kick him out. We didn't do anything, right? We're just standing there talking like we've been the whole time. Well, then about 2 or 3 minutes later, she go in increasingly annoyed tone. Can my son just stand between y'all? And we were like, yes, of course. It's just like, but she was acting like we had been the ones who were like, get out of here, kid. We don't, and so he'd run off to go see his friends or do whatever. Obviously anybody who's graphed knows that it's a slow burn. Most of the time it's not just instant gratification, especially if you're going to get, good autographs and nice things. For the most part, there's a certain amount of waiting you have to be ready to do, or you're not going to be successful doing it. Well, and kids, that's like the opposite of kids, right?
Right.
And so he would run off, and then he'd come back, he'd get somebody, and then it got to the point where she was like almost like screaming at us, well, y'all keep moving together, which we weren't. We're just standing there talking like you and me right now. It's like, y'all keep moving together. Can my son get down there, please? And she's like, like getting on us. And we're like, lady, your son has a spot here. Like, even if he runs off, we're not like trying to, like edge him out or anything like that. We're just, it's like, it's not even a thing to us. We were just having a conversation, And so it was funny. Because I don't know, about 15-20 minutes after that lady gets there, there's another older lady. So I'm gonna say that this is probably this other second kid's grandma. And there's another kid, and so this lady was being a Karen. The first lady was being a Karen to us, right? And we're just like, okay, man, we're not like sweating whether your kid is here and gets an autograph or doesn't. That's up to him. It's not that big of a deal to us, but it was obviously a big deal to her.
Right.
And so this second lady, and this story I should have led with, is called Karen Gets Karen. Okay. And so that first lady was Karening us. Mm-hmm. And so this second lady comes, and she is talking to the first lady. And she's got, I guess, her grandson or something. And I just hear this conversation going on behind me. It was all I could do not to laugh, right? And so this lady wants to know if her grandson can use the first lady's son's marker.
Yeah.
In the eventual and hypothetical event that somebody comes over to sign, right? And she's like, can he use the marker? And she's like, yes, he can use the marker. Well, then like 2 or 3 minutes later, I just wanted to make sure he could use the marker whenever they come over.
Right.
And so it's two ladies having the exact same conversation. One lady having it with us, and that lady immediately getting her comeuppance. And then finally she's like, it'd just be nice if you just let him use the marker. And she's just like getting on her. And it's all I can do, and the guy that I'm talking to, it's all we can do not to just laugh at this lady's face because she got exactly what she gave. And she's like, you should just let him use the marker. And both kids are not graphing. They're just off playing. But in the hypothetical event that the kids could have enough focus to get an autograph, can we use the marker? And we're just hyper fixated on this. And this went on for like 5 or 6 minutes. It was hilarious to listen to. And I was like, you know what? If I was looking for like immediate karma, there it is.
Yes.
Because that lady was sent to get the first lady off of our back. And and we're just sitting there laughing about it the whole time. And we got our drafts. I ended up getting Holbert Cabrera for my 40-man set, which was awesome. And I even got Damon Miner for my 40-man set. And we got Luis Matos and a bunch of other guys. So yeah, it was a great night, and we got a fun story. And so yeah, that is the story of Karen getting Karen.
Nice. Wow. The good news is we're 1/3 of the way into this trip, and nothing like that has happened yet. Those 3 letters being the key word, Y-E-T. I mean, I can't think of any that happened on the 2022 trip, at least. There's nothing really terrible on that.
No.
Just, overzealous usher in Indianapolis, but...
That might be a story worth telling.
Yeah, I mean, that's, somewhat. So, okay, yeah, Indianapolis. We found out later this guy got fired a few months later, apparently, or... reassigned inside the ballpark there, but Indianapolis turned out great outside post game, fortunately, which was great. And my friend Bryce Williams, the first time we'd ever met him, I talked him on a few Facebook groups and all of that, but he said, hey, yeah, I'll find you guys at the game and stuff. We found him, during the game, and he told us, yeah, hey, here's where to go after the game, and helped us spot a few players and everything. And yeah, great guy, helped us out a lot there. So, but inside pregame, we decided, okay, we're going to go third base side there, over by the Indianapolis dugout. And they had some, spots in netting there they could lift up and stuff before the game. Then, just lock them down in place and all that. Well, the problem is, though, that you had to be waiting in one of those spots. If you were in between those and, trying to slip something underneath the netting, all hell broke loose there with the usher. It's like, you're not allowed to touch the netting. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so it's like, okay, fine. So we get over to the side there. He's like, oh no, single file line here. When you get your autograph, you go back to the end of the line. That's great if people actually cycle through. I'm fine with that. But problem is, you get a bunch of kids up there who don't know what they're doing. They just want to be by the players and get an autograph or whatever, but they don't know who any of them are. They don't know anything about the players. So we're sitting there just kind of, cops come and try to snatch my cops back there. So anyways, we're standing there. We get, I don't remember who the first one was we got there. Was it, I think it was actually the starting pitcher that day. He actually came over and signed.
Miguel Yajure.
There you go.
I'm not sure how you say it, but yes, that's who it was.
So yeah, got him, and unfortunately it was on a set card, so nice to be able to get that one, knock out a set need there. He actually had 2 that I had. And so the guy's like, okay, you got yours, go to the back of the line. It's like, okay, fine, but I was like, well, what do we do when another player comes up? It's like, well, you go to the back of the line. I'm like, okay, so I get my 1 autograph total here, basically. That's great. Because, yeah, once we got to the back of the line, then you get a bunch of kids up front who don't know who any of the players are, who don't know anything about how to call them over, who don't know anything about this. They're just standing there, hoping the player's just going to walk over out of his own volition and go like, hey, kids, do you want an autograph? Sure, I'll sign it. When have you ever seen a player do that?
Almost never. It's like they're hoping for the fisherman from the SpongeBob's SquarePants on. Are you ready, kids?
Exactly. Yeah.
For some autographs?
Yeah. 1% of players might come over and say, hey, do you want me to sign that for you? And the only times I can ever think of where I've actually been asked by a player, hey, do you want me to sign that for you? It's both been hockey players at a practice for their various teams. It's never happened at a baseball game that I've ever had. So, we get stuck moving to the back of this line, and it's like, yep, that's all we're getting there. From what I heard, though, apparently enough complaints were lodged against this usher that he got reassigned elsewhere. Now Indianapolis is actually somewhat doable inside now, so yeah, that actually worked out. But yeah, that was probably the worst moment we had over there. But Indianapolis, not exactly the greatest place, because after we gave up on that because we got stuck way at the back of the line, 7 guys come over, and it's like, well, I could have asked him up, needed him for a set, could have gotten him. We're like, screw this, we're going to try the St. Paul side. So we went over to the visitor side there, and yeah, you had your fun with, was it Trent Thornton, was that? Or
oh, yes, yeah.
Tyler Thornberg, one of those?
Oh, yes, Tyler Thornberg, that's right.
Yeah,
and I tried to get, it always kind of makes me laugh whenever, but it's also super efficient, whenever you ask a guy, because normally if a guy doesn't want to sign, most of them just ignore you and act like you don't even exist as a human being. And so, yeah, it's kind of funny, sometimes, and a little refreshing in a weird way. Whenever you're like, hey, will you sign it? They say no. Right. That's what happened with Tyler Thornberg. It's like, man, the game ends and I go down there. I'm like, hey, Tyler, will you sign it? He goes, no. And I was like, all right, that's the end of the conversation, I guess. But yeah.
It was tough in there too, because most ballparks these days, they say, autographs can be obtained up to 15 minutes before game time. A lot of them extend that. They'll say, about like all the way up to first pitch, essentially. So it's like once the national anthem gets done, you might be able to get one guy right then real quick. But that's about it. So once the national anthem hits, you're probably done for. Oh, they took that 15 minutes very seriously there in Indianapolis. So, they're getting St. Paul. As soon as the umpires come out, they're like, boom, done. Closed up the holds there. It's like, what? Hold on a second. They haven't even started yet. And they're like, well, the umpires are on the field. You have to leave. It's like, you're the only ballpark that does this. You know that, right? And they're like, well, that's our policy. It's like, screw you guys, So, yeah, Indianapolis, better than it was from what I'm hearing, but still not exactly great. I've heard that is still the policy there, that 15 minutes before, whenever the umpires are on the field, you're done, and that's it. So, not great. So, if you're going to Indianapolis, beware of that. So,
yeah, and so you were talking about nets. I'll tell the story about Lynchburg, because it's always weird because you never know if you've never been to a ballpark before what their policy about the nets is, whatever the English grammatical
policy is. Policies are.
Yes.
There you go.
I've got a communications degree. But yeah, so you never know what the policies are about dealing with the nets. Some, and I would even say probably most teams don't care if you touch the net or lift it up a little bit to, slide a book or a page or a card or whatever.
It's like not damaging it. They don't really have a reason to get all crazy about it.
Right. But the select few teams that do care if you touch the net really care. and so I was in Lynchburg. I was in Lynchburg, Virginia last year, and they have signs all over. Now it's a short seating bowl. There's really only a couple of maybe 3 or 4 sections down the left field line on the Lynchburg side. And so I'm standing down there, and there are like no less than 8 to 10 signs that say, do not touch the net. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not. And so with graphers, I think, generally speaking, obviously, most of us are a little bit, we like to stretch the rules a little bit and see, kind of what you can get away with. I think that sort of neurodeviancy is probably present in most graphers. And so I'm like, you know what? I didn't come to Virginia to get thrown out of a ballpark. I've still, knock on wood, not been thrown out of any ballparks in the 100 that I visited now. And so, I wasn't trying to do it that day. And so I'm like, you know what? I got to find another way, because I'm not even going to touch this net at all, right? Because I don't know how crazy they are, and I don't need somebody trying to cart me out of here. Right. And so I find a little slat in between two of the pieces of wall, and it was about that big. And so I start sliding my pages through it, and I'm like, I'm not touching the net. You can't tell me anything. It's like, I'm not touching you. I'm not doing any of that. I'm like, and so nobody ever came and said anything to me, but I'm sliding pages, but the players are kind of giving me like weird looks, right? I'm like, hey, will you sign? And, I slide my page through the wall there, and, they take it, but they're kind of like, I've never seen anybody do this before. And obviously they would know better than me, because that's my first time there. But I'm like, I'm not touching the net, And so finally, and so I got most of the guys that I was looking for. And then finally, a couple of the guys are kind of sitting at the edge of the dugout where the nets are. And I go, right before the national anthem, I go, hey, will you sign? And he's like, yeah. He's like sitting on the railing there. And he goes, yeah, I'll sign. And so I go, and I'm trying not to touch the net, and I'm trying to like weed it through this little hole, and where he can get it. And he says to me verbatim, he goes, dude, just lift the net up. and so he like grabbed the net and lifted it up. And so I got a couple guys there. And so I felt a little bit like a fool, but I was like, I'm not touching this net. Right? Like, I'm not going to be the reason. They're not going to have my head, my face, on a poster out there. It's like, this guy is the reason that nobody can ever graph in Lynchburg ever again. And so, but it was just kind of funny, because I spent all that time and effort painstakingly trying to not touch the net, and the player was like, man, just grab the net, just pull it up and give it to me, and so that was a little bit of a funny moment there.
So you haven't been kicked out of a ballpark, but we have been kicked out of a hotel before.
Yes, that is true.
We went, this is right after I first moved down to DFW. I was thinking, all right, cool, I can, I'm finally in a place where I can start going for hockey teams again, and no, I couldn't. A lot of the hotels there are completely like off limits to graphers, and a lot of the teams stay at the Crescent Court, which is one of the worst ones. You can graph there, but you can't be within like 150 yards of the bus, essentially. So you have to hope that somebody comes down to get coffee, and typically they're going to send the rookies down there to get it. So since the first time I went for a team there, I went for the Winnipeg Jets and did pretty well with them, actually. Got a bunch of the guys there. And so the next season, it's like, all right, let's go ahead and try the Capitals when they come in early on in the year. By the way, ever since the Capitals, the only other one I got was Sidney Crosby. So at least I'm, quality over quantity, at least, on those things.
If you're going to get one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot to get.
So we go for the Capitals, and the night before, we actually did all right. We got like a Hall of Famer, Adam Oates was the coach at the time, and got him. What was it? Braden Holtby was the goalie at the time. He signed for us. Joel Ward, because as the only black player on the team, he's very easy to spot, so we were able to get him. Joel Ward, by the way, got locked in a bathroom the next day while we were trying to go for them, and so I ended up getting a little bit delayed there. So we went down for morning skate the next day, and got a few guys there. It was, Backstrom was one of them. I think Mike Green was one.
Martin Erat.
Yeah, Martin Erat was the other one. So yeah, I got a few players at least. Not a ton, but knocked out a few there. Ovechkin said, oh no, I'll sign at game time, I'll sign at game time. It's like, yeah, okay, but yeah, we'll try it. We'll be back for that, but we'll see. So we went up, we spent the afternoon going out to the card shop and everything up in Plano, then rode back down for game time and get there, wait outside by the bus and everything, and we're like, all right, maybe we'll have a chance here, maybe we'll get some of these other guys, and as they come out, or as they start to come out, like after maybe one or two players, a security guy comes out and says, yeah, I'm going to see your room keys. If you don't have one, then you have to leave the property. It's like, this is kind of a public street right here, but okay, maybe it's not as public as I thought. And yeah, we got the boot from the Omni there in Dallas, so no Ovechkin. I'm pretty sure, I'm about 95% certain Ovechkin himself probably went to security and said, yeah, have them removed, please. So, and that seems to be the kind of a common thing there. Is, I mean, he'll say, oh yeah, I'll sign at game time, then he won't. He'll say, oh yeah, I'll sign later, and he never does. You can speak to him in Russian and he'll just completely ignore you even. So, I mean, I've got my friend Joel, it was Joel and his wife were there with us for that one too, and she had said that, yeah, she's I think studied Russian in college, so if she's not fluent, she's pretty damn close, and yeah, I mean, she was speaking to him in Russian, and he was like, whatever, don't care, go away. So, yeah, we have been kicked out of a hotel at least, though, if, I mean, not when we're staying in or paid for, obviously, which is very good, but yeah, haven't been kicked out of a ballpark yet, and I'd like to keep that streak alive of not getting kicked out of them as well, so, yeah.
Yeah, our credit's up just a little bit because we got kicked out of a hotel. Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think if there's any other stories worth mentioning here in this. We've gone on for, how long has it been? 25 minutes. Okay, yeah, it's been a while. So that's probably good for now. If we come up with more, we'll do them later on in the trip here because there's a lot of time on the road here that's needs filling. So I know we've got the... We've got your list of players for me to try to rattle off the teams for at some point here. I've got 3 hours of driving here after we get to the Mackinac Bridge. I'll show you real quick here out the window. We are actually right by Lake Michigan. See that going by behind me. So coming along Lake Michigan here, we're going to be heading toward St. Ignace is the city there. Then we'll stop and get some pasties. We'll cross over the bridge over to Mackinac City. See if we can find Mackinac Fudge there as well, just real quick. And continue making our way over toward Lake Michigan. We're taking the SS Badger tomorrow, but before that, might go through that stuff there that you're mentioning on the podcast there of naming off players, and I have to try to name all the teams they played for. So we'll see how I do on that. I don't think it's going to go well, but yeah, we'll see. I feel like you've got some crazy ones up your sleeve here, and what's his name that played for 15 teams? No, we're not even doing that. No. I mean, I have a 50%. I mean, I'll just start rattling off every single team there, so I'll get them all eventually. It's just, it'll take me 30 guesses to get all 15, so there you go. Anyways, stay tuned. We might have that coming up right after this. St. Ignace, Michigan. Let those pasties. They've been here since 1947, apparently. They also have smoked fish. They also have beef jerky. We're here to try the pasties, though, and we're going to compare those to the Lowry's pasty that we got up in Ishpeming here in a moment. All right, we're back in the car. We are switching, and from Letto's, we have a pasty. Get this out. Knife is there, that's good. Okay. Letto's pasty a little bit smaller, but that's fine. I mean, we don't really need anything massive here, and nice flaky crust on it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a handle on it the way that you'll see here in a second, but very good shape. The crust looks about right other than the lack of a handle, which, yeah, slight loss of points there for that. Especially when we compare it to the one here from Lowry's up in Ishpeming. Also, doesn't really quite have the handle on. I mean, a little bit to a degree right there, but, yeah, try these out, though. So, knife me, please. Okay, here is the one from up at Lowry's. Aaron and I will each get a half of this, and we'll give our thoughts and comparisons and all that.
My initial thought is that one looks like a potato.
Yeah, it kind of does. And it's loaded with potato inside, so, I mean, kind of works there, so. There we go. You'll see the inside. Okay, very good. You'll see there is potato, beef. It's kind of a beef and pork mixture. Potato, onion, and rutabaga all in there. So this was the 12-ounce pasty from up at Lowry's that we're going to dig into first. It's kind of cooled down a little bit. They're not, fresh out of the oven hot, but it's more than edible. Pretty good. I mean, that's the way a pasty should be. There's no extra crap going on in there. They did not use carrot, which is the biggest, most important thing to me in this. Also, I mean, nice nice size of chunks on there as well in that. So, yeah. Like I said, it's kind of missing a little bit of the handle of crust the way that a lot of them will typically have. You find that a lot, especially in the Western UP, I think. But, yeah, so, slight minus points on both of these for not having that. But overall, good texture on the crust. The filling's quite good. Aaron, any thoughts there?
Kind of reminds me of a Western burger. Do you even know what that is? That may be a Southern thing. I don't know. When I grew up in Wichita Falls, they had this thing called the Western burger, and it was like all the meat. It was like supposed to be a hamburger, but it was basically like they'd take a roll and they'd stuff all the meat inside of it. And so this is kind of what that is. I mean, the flavor's really good. I mean, even for, sitting in the car for however many hours that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flavor's really good. And yeah, I mean, the crust is still pretty flaky, so yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we picked this up 3 hours ago up in Ishpeming. And, I mean, that's part of the beauty of a pasty, is that the copper miners would take it and they could just tuck it right into their jacket, and it would help, keep them warm down in the cold mines, or also having the body heat there would help keep the pasty warm as well. So kind of a symbiotic relationship with your lunch there, basically, is what it came down to. But the reason also for the little handle of crust that I said was, missing on here, was that it made it very convenient for the miners to eat. Down in a lot of mines, especially the tin mines where these were invented over in England, tin and arsenic are right next to each other on the periodic table. You don't want to mess with any arsenic. And so by having that handle on there, you can just hold onto the handle of crust, eat all the stuff around it, and then throw the crust away just to chuck it down the mine. And there's these little gremlins, they say, that live in the mines, and by tossing it down there, it helps appease them because they're getting their free food and everything. And you're less likely to have mine cave-ins and all that kind of stuff, as the story goes. So, yeah. Go ahead and start cutting into the one here from Leto's. Leto's one very similar in size here, so probably about a 12-ouncer. Typically over in the copper country, a lot of places do about 16-ounce ones, so, about a third larger, but yeah, I mean, that Kudigi sandwich at lunch was pretty good size, so I really don't need anything huge. So these are about just the right size for right now, so good on them for doing that. They did have a 17-ounce option up there at Lowry's there. About the size that I'm used to there, but yeah, didn't need to go extra on that one. Look at the one here from Leto's. Also, no carrot. Very well done. They actually they even sold some t-shirts in there. They had the UP outline on there that said Rutabaga across it. Like, that's a good sign right there. So,
which part is the rutabaga?
Rutabaga, if you see something that's like a slightly orange color to it in there, yeah, right there. That's a rutabaga right there. When you see a rutabaga when it's been cooked, usually it'll take on a bit of a yellowish or orangish color, but not quite as like, bright orange of a carrot in there. So, yeah. I introduced Jen to the rutabaga, and she absolutely loves it now. So, you can mash it like a potato and everything. So, get some good options with that. All right, almost there. Yeah, this was good. So yeah, Aaron, you have nothing to compare it to. So, any additional thoughts on that from your first pasty?
No, I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, but it's good. I mean, it's got a lot of flavor in it. Now, for me, I could take a little bit of salt with it, but for the most part, it's pretty good. And I mean, I could definitely see how it's a hearty meal in it. My mom always says that her mom, my grandma, used to say, you need something that'll stick to your ribs a little bit. And I mean, I could definitely see, down in the mines, it's like I gotta eat something that's gonna stay with me. I can't be hungry in 20 minutes, and this would definitely get it done. Chunks of potato and meat, and yeah, all right.
Yeah, I mean, as one who's a pasty connoisseur a bit, yeah, I mean, other than the lack of that edge crust there, that's exactly what I look for in a pasty. So I'm very happy with the ones from Lowry's, which I expected. I was told, Lowry's has some of the best ones in the UP, and yeah. So now we're about to get into the ones here from Leto's. This is gonna be interesting because I tend to get a little picky about my pasties, and typically I don't trust anything east of Marquette. And here we are. We're a ways east of Marquette. This is down in St. Ignace. We're almost to the Lower Peninsula at this point. So about to dig into this, but from what I'm seeing, I like how it's starting out here. I mean, we'll just see if I can cut through that last little bit right there. It's interesting. The potatoes are done a little bit differently here. It's not a chunky potato, but rather a sliced potato in this one. So different texture and everything, but yeah, give it a try here. And so Aaron's got his last couple bites there, and go ahead and dig on into this. This one, of course, fairly fresh right out of the oven, kind of warm temperature to it as well. So little piece of the crust. The crust not quite as flaky, but it looks like it gets some good flake there once you get to the edge there. So that's good. I've seen some reviews online that said that Letos could be a bit inconsistent at times. They've got, I guess, a new person making the pasties there in the last couple of years. The original person retired or something like that. So had kind of a warning there, but I mean, just looking at it right now, the crust just thick enough to hold everything together. So that might be part of it too. Is I mean, you get some stuff soaked in there, so it's not going to quite work as well to maintain the flakiness there. But another thing is also, I mean, there's a continuous debate that goes on between Youpers about, do you put ketchup on your pasty or do you put gravy on your pasty? Because both are options. Most places will sell gravy, like $2 for a little cup of it, or you can get yourself the ketchup there for free, a couple packets of it or whatever. I personally go for neither. I like putting a little butter on there, and that's all it really needs. A good pasty only needs just a pat of butter on there to drip down it and everything, and then you're good to go. So I'm about to dig in. Aaron, yours is right here for you whenever you're ready, and go ahead and go for it. This is the the Letos pasty. I definitely prefer the chunky potato on it, but it works pretty well, even with this like thinly sliced, almost like a scalloped potato kind of a thing going on there, like potatoes au gratin without the cheese, essentially. But seems a little bit less beefy in this one. The other one had a little bit more beef to it, but still pretty good, I gotta say.
I think that the first crust was definitely much denser, which I kind of like, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, once again, there's the no handle on there. It does have a little bit of a fold at the top here, which I'm about to bite into now, so we'll see how that goes. There you go. If you get to that part, you get a little bit more thickness to it there, so kind of helps it out. I find more pepper in this one as well. A little bit better seasoning to the meat there, so again, that helps things out. Usually the only seasonings that you'll find in a pasty, you get some black pepper and salt, and that's about all they mix in with the meat as far as I know. I mean, I've made my own before. It's just been a while, and I don't have my recipe in front of me to know what I usually put in there, but it's usually just, salt, pepper, mix in with your beef and pork. And then you mix it in with your potatoes and rutabagas and a little bit of onions. Put it in your crust, roll it up, pinch off the little edge crust and everything, and put it in to bake, and typically you're good to go after that. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not offended by either of these pasties, at least. And that's the biggest thing I want, is just to not be offended by whatever I ate. And so, very good. I would give a slight edge to Lowry's, but yeah, Letos, I mean, this is good in a pinch, for sure. I mean, if you don't want to have to drive, 3 hours to go and get yourself the good pasties from over on the west side of the UP, this is more than acceptable right here from Letos. So, very happy with that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think that Lowry's, and I think that says something that about the durability of that one, is that we drove this whole way. And yeah, I think I like that one a little bit better. I think I like the chunky potatoes a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, this is still pretty good.
We'll have to get you some next time Jen and I make a batch of them, because we don't do it too often. Because number one, you can go to pasty.com and buy them shipped in from the UP. They come frozen. You can reheat them and all that. Number two, it's July heading into August. We're not turning our oven on until at least the late part of September. So won't be doing anything there. But yeah, next time we make some, you can try out the legit ones there and see how those go. Well, as legit as I can do, at least, I should say. And not to insult either of these, since they're closer. I mean, they're actually in the UP, whereas I'm just, a child of a Youper. So, but yeah, we'll get you some of those there and see how I remember them being, at least, and everything. But yeah, overall, very happy with both these places. So if you're ever up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, go and check out Letos Pasties here in St. Ignace. Go and check out Lowry's Pasties up in Ishpeming and Marquette. Try one out. good meal for a fairly cheap price. It's the Mackinac Bridge. We're on the Lake Huron side of it here. Just crossed over that from the UP. We're down to Lower Peninsula now at this point. See some of the cars going across the bridges up there. Quickly back across. There we go. Whoa, there we go. Can't quite see the other side there. Kind of gets lost on the horizon there. But you can see the Upper Peninsula over here. I believe that is Bois Blanc Island that's out there. Mackinac Island's a little further down from there. You can't quite see it from here. But yeah, there you go.